How are you doing with getting on with the scary stuff? The kinds of things that you need to challenge yourself with in order to grow and develop, especially as a speaker and communicator. And we know what those things are pretty much. And we also know that really stage time is the thing that's going to progress us the most, especially when we are doing stuff on stage that we are not always used to doing and is a little different. Even if we're pretty advanced as speakers, the stuff that we're not fully proficient in that we would maybe like to be and we know could take us to a new level. And that's what I want to talk about today, stage time. And I'm going to share with you some of my recent stage time experiences as well. So, welcome to Present Influence, the show for professional communicators who want to inspire, impact, and influence. My name's John Ball, and I'm your guide on this journey to mastery level communication skills. Thank you for joining me. And stage time has been on my mind a lot, and doing the scary stuff has been on my mind a lot, especially after a recent episode that I keep referring back to at the moment, but it made a huge impact on me with Judy Carter, episode 198, if you want to go and listen to it. And Judy is a professional comedian and professional keynote speaker, and she teaches comedy workshops for people who want to be funnier as speakers or stand-ups. And the fact that she said to me, she still challenges herself to go and do open mic nights and do stand up to scare herself because she knows we need that. We need that to feel alive. We need to challenge ourselves and do the stuff that we could otherwise get complacent about or think, oh, I'm good enough or that'll do. I don't need to keep developing. I know speakers, and I've even tried to coach some of them who are at a level where they're good and they can get the bookings, they can get the fees, and they don't think they need to grow or develop any further. And I think that's a shame. Unfortunately, some people, you can't tell them that. Some people are very coachable. Some people get to a point where they become uncoachable and become divas. And I hope you won't do that. Just be aware now. And I'm guessing as someone listening and watching a podcast like this, that's probably not who you are. And I hope you wouldn't want to become that either. There's never going to be a stage that you're going to get to as a professional communicator where there isn't still something you could improve upon and something you could be even better at that would take you to a new and even higher level of mastery. So don't ever get complacent about the stuff that we do and keep challenging yourself to do the scary thing. And those words, even though Judy didn't directly challenge me, I took it as a challenge to do the scary things and knew that I had been putting off putting myself forward for an open mic comedy night in Valencia that I knew had started up recently and was being done in English because there's no way I could, my Spanish is okay, but not good enough to do a stand-up routine, I don't think. Maybe in the future, who knows? But in English, so a stand-up comedy night in English. And it's been on my bucket list for the longest time. And I'll do a stand-up comedy course and then I'll probably have to perform at the end of that. And I know people who've done that. Some people have had great experiences. Some people are like, never again. Fine, whatever your experience of that is great. But then I thought, I don't need that. I just need to put myself in the experience and be okay that I might bomb. I might fall flat on my face and come off the stage feeling embarrassed or humiliated, and just be okay with that and know that the big achievement would be getting up there and doing it in the first place. And so I put myself forward, and I guess I could have been really nervous about it. I wasn't, and I did create some jokes. I created some routines, and I used Judy Carter's book, The Comedy Bible, to help me do that. And I have to say, invaluable, absolutely invaluable as a resource. I don't think there's any way I'd stand a chance if I didn't use the material from her book. So I do think it's worth checking that out, even if you have no intention of doing open mic or stand-up comedy. And so I put myself in for that. And a friend of mine had mentioned about a storytelling event as well. And it was like one of those things you could turn up to and you could put your name in to speak and tell a story on stage if you wanted to. You didn't have to do it. And she wanted some support. So I said, I'll come with you. I'll support you. She wanted to do this and she was challenging herself. And so well done, Ida. You did a great job. And I thought, I'll do it as well. I'll get up and speak too. And I know Ida really wanted me to go first. And the way things worked out, she ended up going first, but she was fantastic. And it was great to go on after her. Oki Alexander, who's running these events in Valencia, got up and did a story himself. And we managed to get a few more people up doing their stories too. It was a really fun evening. And I definitely recommend checking those events out if you're in Valencia or if you happen to be visiting English-speaking people. There's plenty of English events around Valencia now. And even just a year ago or a few years ago, that wasn't really the case, that there would be these kinds of events on, so in English for people to go and attend. So I've been getting my stage time reps in. I did a lot of work on my story. I had to create a 5-minute story. And there was a theme for the night. Unfortunately, I don't even remember what the theme was for the event now, but I created a story that was about my initial interview when I joined the airline, British Airways, years ago, and some experience that I had there. The whole premise of the story was about my inner conversation potentially sabotaging my outer reality and talking myself down. I actually called the story, "I'm Not Supposed to Be Here," because I felt inside myself that I wasn't supposed to be there. I wasn't supposed to be the kind of person who would ever get selected for something like that. Little did I know. But it's amazing how we can talk ourselves into particular things that are either going to support ourselves internally or we're not. And that conversation that's going on inside of us can very often completely sabotage us and stop us from trying. So that's what the story is about. And I'm going to share that with you in just a moment as well. And then I'm going to share with you the stand-up so you can check these out. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can watch the stories and stand-up as well. I will say you might be better off with the stand-up to watch it on YouTube, simply because the audio quality was not that great. I wasn't properly mic'd up. It was in an environment with bar and restaurant and tables, so it wasn't a normal theater experience, maybe a more normal stand-up experience. So there was a lot of background noise. So there's a lot you can't hear. And I've also added subtitles to the stand-up as well, so that you can tell what I'm actually saying in various parts where it's not super clear. I thankfully had 2 different tracks that did make some aspects a little clearer. One recording on a friend's mobile, one recording on somebody's camera setup, but unfortunately I didn't have their mic set up as well. So I apologize for the bad audio for that, and you're welcome to skip it if you don't like listening to bad audio. But what I really want to share with you is these are both things that could have been experiences that I taught myself out of. They could have been really scary experiences that I just said, no, I'm not doing that. I don't really need to do that. I already tell stories in my presentations. I already do that from stage to some degree. Whereas getting up just to tell a story for telling a story's sake and having a good structure to that story and applying storytelling skills is definitely something that I know I could be better at. And stand up, that's something I've never done before. And that's a huge challenge where I didn't even think I'd get any laughs at all. So I was fully expecting to bomb. And you can find out in the video whether I did or I didn't. But either way, these are both things that I'm going to be better the next time I do it. So I've already put myself forward for doing both of these things again. A longer storytelling competition, another open mic comedy night that's going to be better because I know what to expect now. And I know in my head that I can do these things. I can get up there and do it. And I think I can deliver. And I'm going to practice more because I know that I didn't rehearse nearly enough for either of these things. Because I took them on last minute and I was already pretty busy. I have 2 podcasts and multiple episodes and lots of other promotional things going on right now. That is very hard to fit stuff like that in around it, but managed it. And I'm really glad I did. I had so much fun doing it. And my challenge to you is to do the scary stuff. Do the stuff that you don't know you can do. I will say this, don't do those things when you're being paid 5,000, 10,000 or more for a keynote delivery and you're trying out something new that may or may not work. Don't do that. But when you're doing something a bit for free or something for fun, where the stakes are a lot lower, that's the time to try stuff out. Well, it's one of the main reasons why there are open mic comedy nights. So comedians can go and try out material and see what jokes get a response and what doesn't, so they can decide what's going to make it into their acts, into their longer performances. I'm definitely going to do more in this show about humor and stand-up comedy. I'm trying to line up some real experts in this area right now who I've been learning from alongside Judy. And I think that's going to be high value for you as well. You won't want to miss those. And you will be aware of them if you tune into this show regularly, because I will be letting you know what's coming up. But the whole stand-up experience is one of those things that most people say they could never do it. And I put my fear of that was probably on a par with jumping out of an airplane, which I don't know if I could do. I've never tried it. I've been very afraid of doing that, wanting to do it, but afraid of doing it because I don't want to break every bone in my body. But obviously, I want to jump out with a parachute and with somebody who knows what they're doing. That probably makes things a bit safer. But even then, yeah, I know that would scare the crap out of me. But I also think it would be exhilarating once you get over that initial fear and you just have to give in to what's going on. The comedy was a bit like that as well. Once I got over my initial fear of getting up on the stage, things just started to kick into gear a bit and just got on with it. Certainly not perfect, but I'm happy with what I did. And if you're listening to this thinking, oh, I couldn't do that, I couldn't get up and do it, I would say this: you absolutely can. And maybe it's a good sign that you absolutely should. Because even if you think I'm not funny, or even if you think no one's going to laugh, who cares? Who cares? I'll tell you this: out of 6 performers who got up that night, only 2 got laughs. A few got snickers and some got pretty much nothing at all. And that's how it goes. And yet the audience was still very supportive. The audience want you to do well. They want to laugh, sure. And they'll sometimes even laugh at stuff that's not so funny. They'll even laugh at your attempts to be funny. That's the level of support that you can often find in those sorts of events. So I'd say this: I was less afraid to get up on stage after seeing a few people tank and bomb before I went up there. That was a big help. And I hope it would be a help to you as well. Because if everyone got up there and everyone was hilarious, they should probably be on a talent show or having their own Netflix special already if they're that bloody good. So open mic nights are for people to bomb. They're for people to have their failures and try and get a few laughs and successes as well. And people in the audience know that. They're not, at this event, they were paying €6 to come and listen. So what do you expect for €6 that you're gonna see some world famous comedian? No, but you hopefully get at least a few laughs. First of all, let me share with you the audio and video from the storytelling competition from a couple of weeks back that was organized by Oki Alexander. Oki's a really super nice guy who has a company he set up to do this called En Route Storytelling, and he's running events in Valencia, Barcelona, Madrid, and training and coaching alongside that on storytelling. And it's been a real joy to work with him since then as well. And I'm looking forward to the next story night. In fact, I have a coaching session with Oki tomorrow that I'm looking forward to as well. So I need to go and do my homework for that in a little while. Beyond that, I just hope you'll enjoy this and get some value out of the story. And just know it's not really something so special. Most people have had a job interview for stuff. Most people have maybe had doubts and fears about something. Whilst not everyone has necessarily interviewed for British Airways as cabin crew, it's not an unrelatable story, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I hope that you'll enjoy that. And then we'll check out the stand-up.
I'm sitting in a very brightly lit business lounge in Hounslow, close enough to Heathrow Airport that we can hear the planes taking off and landing. I'm a little bit tense, and I look around, there's at least 100 other people there for exactly the same reason I'm there. But I know I'm not supposed to be here. And just 30 minutes earlier, I'm still stressed out because I was trying to dry my suit pants under the hand dryer in the men's toilets for reasons. And I'm wondering if anyone around me can tell. Maybe they can. But I'm pretty sure they're looking at me and thinking, what are you doing here? I'm not supposed to be here. And I look around the room and there's lots of women there, and they look impeccable. Like their hair is tightly pulled back in their heads into a bun, so tight it looks like it's giving them a mild facelift. The men, there's not so many, but they look just as impeccable. They're very smartly dressed, and I'm there in my Marks and Spencer suit, looking like I'm trying to become an assistant supermarket manager. So what am I doing here? I don't belong. I'm expecting any moment now someone's going to come and tell me, oh, hey, John, we made a mistake. You're not supposed to be here. But I've got my letter in my pocket, so I can show them. I was invited. I was told to come here, just in case anybody asks. Nobody does. But as I look around the room, I become more and more convinced that I'm just not supposed to be here. Then I see one guy who doesn't look quite so perfect and impeccable. He's got long, curly hair, and he's very overweight. And I'm thinking, I know that they're going to weigh and measure us very shortly. And that's coming up, dude. Are you ready for this? Because we're all there to become cabin crew for British Airways. And I know that that's a job for beautiful people. So I'm not supposed to be here. I look around, the people start talking. Somebody suggests that they've actually got microphones buried around in various places so they can listen to our conversations whilst we're waiting. I think that's probably not true, but I'm careful what I say just in case. And suddenly some of the girls I'm with notice the guy with the curly hair, and they all start saying what I think they're probably thinking about me. What's he doing here? Doesn't he know they're about to weigh and measure them? Because even after 2 months on Slim Fast and stomachache, I don't know if I'm quite there with the weight-height ratio that's going to be required for this job. But nothing's happened yet. A bunch of ladies come into the middle of the room and they start to announce that things are going to happen, they're setting things up, and they tell us, most people don't even get this far. Most people never even make it past the application stage. So you have already come really far and done really well. And I'm thinking, well, that's good, that's nice, but I'm probably going home in a little while. But I've seen someone who I can probably go and have a consolation burger with at McDonald's to break my 2-month fast of solid food. But then things start to move. We sit down, everything's getting set up for the day. They start calling people up to get weighed and measured. Whilst we're talking, more speculation starts to happen about what's going to occur during the day. And at this point, I don't really care, because I'm expecting to be sent home as soon as they put me on the scales. But my name gets called, and I go up, walk up to the scales, get in line, and just thinking, well, any minute now, someone's going to pull me out of the queue. They're going to realize what's happened. They're going to notice that there was a mistake. They're going to come up and say to me, hey, you know that you're about to be weighed and measured, right? Maybe we could just save ourselves the bother. But nobody does. But then I see curly hair guy leaving. He's been weighed and measured, clearly not within the weight-height ratio that they asked for. So I guess I'm going to be having my consolation burger by myself after the interview is all finished. But finally, I get closer and closer to the front of the queue. They posted up all the height-weight ratios. And I look and think, I'm so on the edge of this, so on the edge of this. I'm not expected to. I start thinking light thoughts and see if I can make myself lighter. But I know that probably isn't going to do much. Then I'm thinking, well, can I make myself a bit taller? Maybe when they measure me, I can sort of straighten myself up and make myself a bit taller. But then I see that they're being very careful when they measure people to make sure that nobody's trying to make themselves taller. So that's out. I get to the front of the queue, finally. They put me on the scales, write down my weight. They measure my height, write down the number, tell me to go and take my seat ready for the rest of the day. So something's gone wrong. Nobody's sending me home. I'm going to be there for the rest of the day now. Oh, well, nobody's telling me I'm not attractive enough to be a cabin crew member. Nobody's telling me I'm too fat to be cabin crew. Nobody's telling me I'm not good enough. Except me. Thanks.
So what do you think? I hope you enjoy the story. And if you are willing to put up with some bad audio here, let's take a listen to the stand-up comedy night that was organized by a great guy. He was very friendly himself as the host, Alexi. And again, if you're in Valencia and you want to check out events, Meetup is the place to go to find out all these things and see what's on. Lots of really cool people organizing lots of really good events. Whether you're here visiting or you're here to stay longer or live, there's lots of good stuff going on. So now enjoy the comedy stylings of yours truly.
But it's lovely to see so many people coming out to find your happiness. My grandmother said to me when I was a kid, you need to go and find your happiness. So I'm really happy to see so many you could come out to find your happiness that I'm not promising I'm going to go to be happy about, but we'll see what happens. Apparently, I was supposed to prepare something for this, but we'll just go with the flow now. But yeah, there's so much unhappiness in the world. Let's say we talked a little bit about this from politics right now, wars, and somebody's just ordered a copy, so the keywords you're not going to be able to hear a single word I'll say. That might be for your bad, is it? But no, I'm really happy to be here to see Porn. But before I really start, I feel like I need to address the elephant in the room. I prefer the word bear. I find elephant a little bit samey, says you could call me a bear. That's a bit nice. Everyone a bit too unkind to herself. And if you're wondering what a bear is larger, sometimes hairy, but usually a bit overweight, middle-aged gay man. Oh my God, this gay and he's fat, is what my mom said when I came back to her. Actually, it's not what she said. I really wasn't that fat then, but then when I did this, I made it a little bit unkind to myself, but I feel like making jokes about fat people is probably the only socially acceptable bigotry that's still allowed. You know, you're still allowed to make jokes about fat people. Oh, nice, but you can still do it. But you're not supposed to make jokes about gay people. You're not supposed to make jokes about old people or anything like that. So you're not allowed to do it. So I can, because I'm gay, because I'm fat, and because I'm middle-aged. If you do it and you're not those things, it's hate speech. But when I do it, it's empowering. So let's have some empowerment. Now, I'm probably a little bit unkind for myself. Yeah, I'm carrying a few extra hours. There's no doubt about that. But losing weight is so hard. Like, it's really hard. Anyone else tried to lose weight here finds it really hard. But it's really hard. And I do all the right things. I bought an expensive gym membership. I bought a men's health magazine. And I've watched at least 1,000 workout videos on YouTube, and I'm still fat. It's so tough. It really is so tough. It's cheap. I'm probably being a bit unfair, but you know, I carry a few extra pounds around it. I think that this year was probably the year, unlike every other year that I've made this decision, to change my life and get in shape. And this year is the year that I'm going to finally uncover my six-pack. All right, I'm not delusional. I'll be quite happy with normalizing my blood pressure. But my six-pack is a bit like a god. Really? Yeah, it's a bit like God. She's like, kind of, it might be there, but there's no evidence for it. So I'm like, I really want to believe it's there, but good luck finding it.
God, but God is, there's some of you just found out for the first time here tonight that God isn't real, so I'm sorry about it.
And, but no, I used to believe. I really used to believe. But I was a church organist. I was a Sunday school teacher, indoctrinating young minds. And there are people who say that religious education for children is indoctrination. It's a form of child abuse. So I guess if anyone knows about child abuse, it's the church, right? But no, I had my own form of religious child abuse when I was a kid. My parents used to make me get up every Sunday morning and go to church. So you have to go to church, you have to read your Bible, you have to sing the hymns, you have to have your gay demons prayed out to get, so normal kind of thing. That was my form of child abuse when I was a kid. And I think that turned out okay from it. I'm not too worried about it. And I'm pretty happy with that. Thanks.
So, not perfect. Some laughs in there, and some jokes that I was quite pleased of. My favorite joke of my own was the one about abs. I didn't quite nail the joke the way it was in my head or the way I'd written it, about my abs being like God, because I hope they're there, but there's no evidence for them. And I thought that really was my favorites. There was bits that I forgot from it. I did edit this a little bit as well, because there was a section where you just couldn't make out what I was saying that I just had to take out completely. But you saw most of it. And I'll see if I can get a better mic setup for the next time I do it. And if you like it, I'll share that with you as well. But you're welcome to offer feedback on my story and my stand-up if you want to. Good or bad, I'll take it. I don't mind. But I'd love to hear your thoughts about what you're going to do to challenge yourself, to do some of these scary things and get yourself out there, because nothing really happens or changes until we do this. And I will say, regardless of the outcome of the stand-up or any of it, I knew it was going to be worthwhile doing it. And the people that I'm meeting and connecting with, making new friendships, new connections, is so valuable. And knowing that I'm pushing myself to do stuff that I wouldn't normally do and making that little bit of extra effort to get into these things was great. And lucky for me, for the story night, I had the support of my good friend Aida, And for the comedy night, I had the support of my husband. Aida came to that as well. And a whole bunch of our friends came. So I had about 8 people altogether who were there to support me, which was great. And that could have been scary, but it wasn't. They loved it. They loved the experience. They want to come again the next time I do it. So I really feel like I need to put on a good show for them and everyone else. And now that I've gotten over the initial fear of doing it, I hope you'll join me for that and more. It's certainly there's going to be way more besides. Next time on the show, I'm going to be talking with a guest about visual storytelling. We've had some episodes on this before, and Reet Kaufman has some interesting takes that I really liked. When I first spoke to her, I thought, oh, we've just had an episode about PowerPoints and things like that. Do I really want another one right away? Orit has some really nice, unique stuff that they thought, oh yeah, I think we should do this and continue that theme. And I think you'll like what she has to say. So I hope you'll join me for my next episode with Orit Kaufman next week. And make sure you subscribe to the show if you're not. And get in touch. Let me know what you'll be doing to challenge yourself. So wherever you're going, whatever you're doing, have an amazing rest of your day. See you next time. Take care.